What is up, you silly bakas out there? Today we're going to be doing a Atrixious developer commentary. It's been long enough now. It's been about a month or so since Atrixious got reset. So I decided, why not, make a video about the areas and all the stuff to do with the Atrixious. I got my KFC with me. I got my KFC certified. What is this? I think that's Coke. And I got a backup chair in case this one crashes over. So, let's get this started while you can grow off with fun. Shit. Alright. So, Spawn, I had to talk about the development of this place. Oh, and there was my dog, too. She's a bit crazy, as you may guess. Alright. So, Spawn was a very fun development process. I remember that. Red Harbor made this, and this was made like during update 1.5, if I recall correctly. Oh yeah, by the way, swag, because I know you'll probably watch this. The answer to that question was update 1.5, not update 1.4. What are my dogs doing? I already know. Never mind. I remember this thing. Not you. This. With heads that was slowly just smaller. I think Magna built the first, and then Czar built the second, and then I think Czar built the last two. Czar built a lot of Spawn. This section is Red Harbors. The pyramid, the ocean area. I don't think that was him. I think that was Fallen and Wolfie. I can't remember though. Bob made stuff over here. Czar made this area. I think he had Wid and Wolfie were help with him on the tree, and then he made this entire section. And Spawn, a lot of people were a bit critical of Spawn while it was being developed because it didn't really have a major theme. This bread came with the KFC. A bit sussy, but decent enough. So, oh yeah, I didn't realize there were explosions this close to Spawn. Never mind, I was probably the one that set them off anyway, so there's that. There used to be a little German looking symbol on the left there. However, due to it being German related and also being a symbol closely relative to something else, and this is not me doing a whole thingy again. I can't say the word, I'll get in trouble. But just to avoid any sort of detection of that stuff, I wanted to get rid of it. Especially with all the people who perform straw man nowadays, you know. I don't think I ever went into this house, but it seems fun. I never understand how builders are able to do this with like terrain, like where the sand, no, like I'd never be able to do that. I was way too much patience. The day they had vertical slabs or like slab stacking where you can have one part be like a sandstone slab and the top be like a prismarine slab is going to be like a wet dream for builders. Anyways, let's talk about story, because why not? So, within coming to Spawn, you literally just get flat out told this place seems very similar to Galeris. And that is a running theme throughout this part, and at least for the beginning. the big running point is this place Galeris? Or why is this place similar to Galeris? Because Galeris never reset. Remember that. Galeris is... Even during Atronos, Galeris is still kicking and fine. Most of the events in Galeris are actually happening while Atrixious, Atronos, and Trigonomus are happening. They're like all happening, and it's fairly similar time. Delsky was only by Atrixious for a small amount of time, while the rest of it was different. But anyway, so for the whole first 1.1 update, the story continued. There's one in Ice Warp. There's one in, I believe there's one in Ice Warp. I have to check. Yeah, there is, I think. I don't think that's the area log I'm thinking of. It may be, but I think the area log hints at it. But right here, it hints and even says that Galeris, Igniosis, and Atronos are all connected, together, whatever the hell it is. I'm not good with words. You guys haven't managed to tell. So that was the starting story, and it goes on to Doombringer as well, because as you're exploring this world, you'll encounter the Doomsday, and you'll obviously summon Doombringer. And that's where the story really hits the point. The main antagonist of the game, which I could spawn, but I kind of really don't want to have to sit through this long talk about, oh hey, or whatever. I'm sorry, I don't even know if this stuff still works. I believe it should, but Minecraft updates and does all sorts of stupid stuff, so who knows. And after you kill Doombringer, you can just fight any other version of him, other than the final boss version. And it was made that way because there really is no order you need to get them in, but you should not be able, obviously you shouldn't be able to fight the Rot, a boss that has Doombringer in it, which you need prior knowledge of Doombringer to even make contextual sense of the scenario to be able to fight it. I mean, you could technically summon it with someone else's summon before killing Doombringer, but as a solo player, there would be no way to obtain a Rot summon without, you wouldn't be able to create a Rot summon without killing Doombringer. And same for the other 5 different bosses that rely on Doombringer. 7 if you count the final boss. Not 7. 6 if you count the final boss. Anyways, we'll get to 1.1 here in a bit, but right now it's just 1.0. And that's all for 1.0 story. So let's talk more about the warps. We covered spawn, just cause spawns forever. However, before we continue, this button here, a button Red made, a button that Red showed me, but that he tried to get everyone to press. 3, 4. Press the button too many times. Can't press it too many times. You're getting doo-doo. Big fat doo-doo. And it didn't set me back to creative. Thank you for that, Red. I'm not actually mad at you, Red. Yeah. I know you're there. Anyways. Imagine if Red didn't see that. Oh, God. That'd be so cringy. Anyway, so Crimson Warp. The first warp on our list. And these are going to have mostly the final versions of them, mainly because I can't remember every single tiny detail that happened in between them. Jeez, I don't remember Crimson being this cut like that. I could have sworn there was more, like, texture to it. Alright, so Crimson Warp, pretty similar to Gladys's. Just a little ribcage looking ass thing. Making you the boss summons. Someone once said they look like penises. I believe that was red. However, that may have just been me. Yeah, anyway, so continuing, we obviously have the Crimson Crafter. Within about the first week or two, I forgot. Is it still on me? Yeah, no, I know what this is. It's the secret code to unlock all the staff privileges. But you don't get to see that. You will never know what the secret code is. None of you will. Secret code will forever be a mystery to all of you. And how it forever stay that way. Because you will never know. No more Fortnite. Anyways, before I was rudely interrupted by my own invention, this is the Crimson Crafter, and it is a lot smaller than Galaris's. In fact, all the crafters are smaller, like glowstone dust, glowing obsidian, turtle eggs. I believe all these recipes were made public. However, there's a high chance that one of them did not get made public. I wouldn't be surprised. I never really did the recipes in Atrixious. I asked Wood to do it the first time. Then after Wood left, I asked Wolfie. And on Atronos, I asked Red. Although it's fun to hide them once you do it like 20 times. Plus, you have more fun things to do, like watching other people fight bosses for you, so that you know that what to fix about it. You hear these buffoons? Alright. Also, if you haven't noticed, my chair kind of broke free from its lock, and I kind of don't want to adjust it. So, if I die on camera, just know I was making some nice content. This ravine is actually completely natural. This is a pre 1.17 because Atrixious was made between the two. There was actually some people, I remember, wanting me to reset Atrixious for 1.17, but I didn't do that, mainly because, no, not 1.17, 1.18. I forget that they separate them into two parts. Mainly because I didn't want to separate parts that were already, planned to come in together. It wouldn't make sense for me to have to basically remake Atrixious and add all the Doombringer stuff again. Another realm. Just wouldn't make sense. And that's why I did. It's all but an obvious one. I didn't reset it. But Butchered Skeleton, which if I recall was the hardest 1.0 boss. The only one that I've actually seen Swag die to in a while, I think. I think it was actually the first time I ever saw Swag die to a boss. But the Butchered Skeleton was not the first boss on Atrixious, though. No, it was far from it. It was actually the last one added in 1.0. The first is the family of Ice Warp. Let me just get down here. This boss here was the first one, and this is also the first one that told you, hey, by the way, this is going to be a lot harder than Galeris, because in Galeris, you just kind of jumped down a tunnel, landed here, placed a thing in here, and you spawned a polar bear that you could spam into a corner with a sword. In this one, though, spawn not one, not two, but 3 polar bears. And all 3 of them have different attack ways. If I just go S and I try to fight them, see, look, I can deal with one, but as soon as the other one comes in, now it's a lot harder. Could I do it? Nope, nope, I cannot do that. I thought for a moment I might be able to stand a chance. And then I found out my perception of life was incredibly flawed. It'd be fine to keep them down there, right? No. Oh. That's a bug that also happened within our time. Since Minecraft loads things wrong, a lot of the time, these things will kind of just happen where it'll detect, it won't detect the entity until after it detects the command block. And then you have issues. But that's a bug that it's hard to fix. And unless I want to make every arena a ticking area, which I cannot do, there's not enough ticking areas allowed. That's never going to happen. Anyways. This. Part of the world edit for this warp made it so that gravel turned to powdered snow. However, this part of the mountain was a gravel mountain, and it basically became a slippery slope field, I guess. It's very fun. Yeah, I did try tricking people a few times in this. If you couldn't noticeably see the texture difference between powdered snow and normal snow, I feel like a lot of people would have fallen into that. But I don't think anyone knew how deep it was. Also, this place was built by Magna. This is one of the 2 warps I believe Magna built. I don't believe actually no, he did work on the Emerald Circus. I can't remember if he worked on any others though. You Claudia Vel. Well, that's quite vulgar. I have no idea what you're talking about. If you don't know, Claudia Vel had a secret where if you talk to her on Atrixious, she would tell you, I got a bussy like a gorilla. And ever since that day, since we tried to post this on MCPDL, we had to change that, obviously, because someone would report it. MCPDL is a sussy place, I guess. And we did so through just renaming it. Now onto the port. This section was built by Fallen Bob, Octo, and Wed. And it was actually a pretty good area. I remember a ship being here. I remember someone burning it down. I wonder who that was. Alright, anyway, so Redbeard as a boss here was quite fun to make, although not tough like I wanted him to be, and I kind of hope I can make him tougher on Atronos, so he's less of a really good, and then you can just spam grind him for loot. Instead, a boss that is a bit more powerful, but still renewable in the sense of you can make more of his summon through basic ways. And he would spawn on this boat with two scallywags known as Scally Gibbs and Scally Czar, which were also required to beat the boss. They were like his second and third in command. Or evenly second in command if you're a loser, I guess. What losers share second in command? It's a loser's privilege. Anyways. Oh. Next on the list is the Ruined Doomsday, where shit really hit the fan. Ruined Doomsday was a fun area to make. I made this all in about one day. And God, I loved making the Doomsday area. Someone came through here with Frostwalker, it seems. If I just wait a moment. There we go. And it was a great part to make. A great section to make. Because it was just overall fun to turn this place into a petrified wasteland. And have the player go through it and try to figure out what happened. There's a few lore books in this place, I think about 3. There's this one about Dowski's. That's the second in the arc of what the hell is this place. That's just what I'm going to name it for right now. And with the first in the arc being the one at spawn. And the final one being the, I think I found what the hell this place is. Book or whatever it's called. Kind of looks like Alaska. Anyways. I believe there's another book back here. Yep. I was right. Yep. That was an analysis on the Doomsday, I believe. The analysis books for the warps, too, at the same time, also had tiny hints of Dowski trying to find out what this place was. And after he discovers it, most of the warp records talk about who the hell Doombringer is, rather than who he is. Rather than what the realm is. Anyways, Doombringer himself was the first story boss. He is the main antagonist. I started saying some really weird shit. I'm kind of losing it, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I think all this root beer may be going straight to my head. Alright, I'm good now. So, Doombringer, main antagonist of Atrixious. And he is, by all means, a pretty fun, pretty crazy guy. His first boss, Temple's Keep on lean. Second boss, Temple's Keep on marijuana. Third boss, Temple's Keep with guns. Third, not third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, so on and so forth. But the seventh, though, Temple's Keep on steroids. I'm telling you now. On number 4, he was a mug maniac. Anyways, that's it for the 1.0 update. So let's go to the 1.1 update. Oh, wait a moment. I forgot about your existence, Spider Cavern. Not one warp. That I was supposed to live up to Cavern Warp, and although I feel like you did, I still feel like I should have came back here and like added something new. Because the boss this area kind of just felt like an arena for a boss. That was it. But, alright. The boss is here, where the Queen was probably the most irrelevant boss. And I don't believe this area had too much story. I think there may be a book in the loot drop but I'd have to double check. Why are you not working? Why did you put me into the nether? Don't do that. I demand to be treated fairly and kindly. Where the hell am I? Something's not right. Oh, is this Red's brother's base? Don't ask me how I know that Red's brother. Yeah, I think it is. Alright, anyways. Also, I hate how no other spawner than Galeris is at 0-0. When I type in TP00, I'm still off. Not as off as Atrixious, but still off. Anyways, that's 1.1 update. Let's go not 1.1, 1.0. So 1.1 update. First area, Flame Lord's Altar. Another area I feel like fell down the rabbit hole of an arena rather than a full warp. But hey, I'm just gonna say, a warp that's just an arena is not necessarily the bad thing. It's more of when the warp is sole purpose is just to hold a boss and that's it. Which I think the only few that can actually reach that level of, I guess, not really unique, I guess, are I want to say Flame Lord's Altar, but I know Bill just put a lot of work in this place, and I don't want to try and make it sound like I'm discrediting their work, because it kind of sounds like that if I start labeling warps that people worked on as bad because they don't serve any other purpose than to be an arena. Because in all reality, every warp is good in my opinion. Just sometimes I wish sometimes I wish I did more with a warp rather than just build an arena. Anyways, Flame Lord on this one was a hard boss. I wanted to make Flame Lord and Sea Lord hard bosses. They were like the two easiest Dark Lords. I thought, well, they're not required and they're not mid-game bosses. So, let's make these hard optional bosses. And this one flings fish that do harming damage and set you on fire. So, hey. I think that's a win-win. I actually got that firefish idea from Chipper before he went AWOL. And as much as I don't like him, it was probably the best idea he proposed to me. Then again, I don't know. He said him and Pizza were the one who thought of it, so maybe Pizza thought of it and not him. I don't know. All I know is GamerGunk's still alive. Anyways. Speaking of the Ice Warp, Sea Warp, which we can't talk about until 1.2, I just remembered. And I hate that. I could have really enjoyed covering that section. Next up we have, I believe, I should cover the Toxic Bogs, which was supposed to come out in 1.1. It didn't come out until 1.7, but we're not going to count that because that was technically not released because the realm crashed. Anyways, also one thing I have against this place. It's about drive, it's about power. Motherfucker. I told Red, no, it's about drive, no, it's about power. And you want to know what he did? He made it about drive. He made it about power. So you know what? By the way, let's admire this place real quick. Very nice, very nice. Alright. Alright. Anyways, let us continue. So, although the shack is slightly dented, the inside's still pretty intact. It was a pretty lovely place. Still is. Now for the boss. The boss was actually supposed to be a bit of a bait in a way, because you would run in, so the way it would spawn, I'm not going to spawn it because it'd be painful and I'd probably die. This is just meant to be like a late game optional boss. But, which would spawn, you'd run up to it, start punching, the Ravager would spawn right here, out of sight. If you're facing right this way, you would not see the Ravager right there. And then, by the time you reach the witch, you're getting plowed in the butthole by a Ravager. And then, it's all downhill from there. You either get complete control of the situation and beat them both down, or you get your butt kicked by little old Ravager. Either of the options were possible, but a lot more people beat it because a lot more people who joined had late game items by the time they got to it. Anyways, the Rotten Jungle Warp, which I conveniently forgot to do this. Anyways, this was the main part of the 1.1 update, with this entire warp coming with it. I remember with Wolfie, it was a bit painful while we made this because we couldn't have, I guess, trees and stuff, right? So I had to tell Wolfie, no tree. I said, only mushroom. And then he built a tentacle, and I said, that's cool, but we can't have tentacle. And no, nothing against Wolfie, because obviously Wolfie's an organics guy, so giving him a project that essentially is limit your organics is probably not the best idea. But the warp came out perfect. This is one of the reasons why Wolfie works on like the big warps nowadays. This is why on Atronos you see him working on Crimson Warp. You'll probably see him, I hope he stays. I hope he stays around for future installments after Atronos as well. I know he's had Discord issues and all that. This is why you'll probably see him stay around for, not stay around, but working on the Rotten Jungle for Atronos. I still hope he stays around. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to keep him. He's a great builder, and he's one of the reasons Atronos looks so great. Not Atronos, Atrixious. I get the names mixed up. Atronos still looks good. Just not as good as Atrixious at the second. Not enough warps. Not enough quality yet. It needs more, and then it will be on par, I'd say. But yeah, this warp was great. Up here was like an abandoned village with a boss called King Deadly that you could get here, who was a boss that you'd summon outside of an arena, kind of like the Gas Queen. Which, I didn't mention the Gas Queen because the Gas Queen was added in 1.3, I believe, if I'm correct. However, I can mention it, which it was added in 1.3. Added 1.4, I think, actually. Was the boss down here was a continuation of Doombringer. This is when I'd say the story kind of got to this point of, alright, this Doombringer character obviously has some sort of goal, but what is it? And throughout the next bosses, I try to hint at what is that thing he brings in, because if you're wondering why there's barriers on this, it's so that you can't use like a chest strat, and if you do, you get screwed. I didn't actually notice that this could happen, but since chests aren't a full block, you can get stuck under the barrier if you walk too far forward, and then you'll have to back up to jump. But it was that, and I'd say this is really where Doombringer came out. If you ever wonder where the story for Atrixious, Atronos, and Chronixus, because Chronixus will be its own realm on its own, I can already just confirm that outright if it hasn't been obvious by now. That Atrixious will have some sort of story to it. It wouldn't make sense for Atrixious to split two ways with Doombringer going to one and never mention, oh, what's happening on that side. But, yeah, this, I'd say, all of it stems from band class. I was in band class, I was playing my tuba, I think it was a song called Arrows. And it was this one part, and there's like a 30 measures of rest. And during those 30 measures of rest, every time the clarinets kept messing up, so we had to keep rewinding. And I just thought of the entire story. Just while that was happening. I was just bored out of my mind thinking of stories. And I was like, you know what? Bringing this Doom... I forgot to put this message for Doombringer, like an idiot. What if I capitalize off of it and make it so he's the main antagonist, and not only the main antagonist, but a lunatic cultist that will split realms several ways in order to get what he wants. And that's it. Alright, that's a pretty good concept for a villain. And that's where it comes from. If you wonder why Doombringer, that's why. Because he's the first thing that came to my mind as the closest thing to a villain. Originally, actually, there was meant to be, like, other followers, with Doombringer being, like, one of the lowest. But I decided that Doombringer, being the only follower on Atrixious, would be funner, I guess, because it would imply that, you know, Doombringer is just... he's doing this all on his own. He's trying to do this all for his own personal gain, which I guess is true. He does do this to try and rise up the ranks in whatever clan he could possibly get into in the future. I feel like I'm spoiling stuff. I know I'm not, but God, I feel like someone's gonna comment. I feel like Swagger. Someone else is gonna respond with spoilers, man. I'm gonna feel bad. Also, someone used to really like waxing this. I know who it was. Their mom. I know exactly you. I know it was you, their mom. I got everything all the evidence points to you. You even said it. And I couldn't fix this bug, because if you tried to, then people would have to, like, stand on top of the E-chest in order to use it. And that was stupid. However, it did make sense, but it was still stupid. Anyways, onto the 1.3 update, which... Wait, hold up. 1.1 update still has Emerald Circus, which we need to cover. I do believe this. You were 1.3. You were 1.3. You were 1.3. You were 1.2. I believe I'm correct. You were 1.5. You were 1.3. You were 1.3. You were 1.1. You were 1.2. Something's off. There's a 1.2 place that... Maybe you were 1.2. I can't remember. One of you was 1.2. It was you. It was Distant Tundra. That explains it. You were 1.2 though. I'm definitely sure about that. No, wait. You were 1.1. Crap! Why is this so hard? One of you were 1.1. 1.2. You two were 1.2. I remember now. You were 1.2. You were 1.2. You were 1.3. You were 1.3. You were 1.3. You were 1.3. You were 1.1. You were 1.1. You were 1.4. And you were 1.4. Wait, no, you weren't 1.4. I can't remember where Slime Shores is on the list. I think this place may have been 1.4, but I'm not too sure. Anyways, I kind of got off track, but let's just do this. So 1.2. First off, Distant Tundra. Distant Tundra was was another Wolfie warp, which is probably why it's good. I like to say that because, I don't know, I just like Wolfie's work. He did a lot of really good work with the warps on Atrixious, and I'm glad he stayed for Atronos, and hopefully future installments. I can't say I know everything about the future, but I can hope. And I remember one small error with these guys when Wolfie was first making them, or at least one or two of them anyways. When he structure blocked them on top of the snow. So when he placed them and then like someone melted the snow, the snow foxes, I think they're called. I can't remember. I think these were saber-toothed tigers. I'd have to ask Wolfie what they were, but I believe they're saber-toothed tigers is what they're supposed to be, and based on those teeth. And they basically all the saber-tooths would be ascending, at least some of them at least. And that was a bit funny. I was like, hey Wolfie, are these guys supposed to be ascending? And the good old days. This Behemoth Phosbat was a boss that also followed Doombringer in his journeys to get stuff. By 1.1, it's established that that he wants items for something, because he went for Autonomous Polonium, which was in there. And then this place comes along and basically does imply this guy wants something. He is trying to get it. I am, I guess, stopping him. I don't know. And that's kind of where we go. But Doombringer, as a normal person in the thing, is just riding the Phosbat the entire time. If you don't know, the Distant Tundra is based off of Pikmin from Nintendo. And I could not ever properly get the, what's it called, done. I can never properly get a, shit, I can't remember what it's called. The Behemoth Phosbat is actually a name of a boss from Pikmin. However, I could never get the actual version of that boss, because the Behemoth Phosbat's a giant bat with, like, blubbery wings and other stuff, and I can't make a bat larger. I can't make the bat attack you. I can't make the bat spit poison out of its what's it called, hair, I guess. So I didn't really do that. However, even though it wasn't what I wished I could do, it was still a great boss around. I think it's one that one that you should probably go for if you start out. It's a relatively easier boss, and its loot isn't half bad. And nor is it a quarter half, whatever the fuck, bad. I think Slime Shores was in 1. I'm just gonna add it into 1.2 because I can't remember when I added the Slime Shores. But Slime Shores is probably a bit of a failure. It was probably the one I didn't care for the most. It kind of felt like a fun thing to do, and it had like a fun arena concept, but I think just the fact that transparent blocks on most accounts kind of broke people's games and lagged out a lot of people's FPS. Like, I don't think Wolfie ever fought the boss there because Wolfie could never get the FPS required, nor do I think a lot of console players could, actually. I think Swag did it just fine, but Swag's on PC, so I'm not surprised. Anyways, Emerald Circus, which is also a story boss, and this one implies that this is when it starts to imply that he is building something because of the reactor, the Darkon reactor. That why would someone want and need an engine that is so powerful it can cause a black hole, which was a reference to, I don't know, to the fact that he's trying to build something, I guess. I don't know. I'm still out of it. Moral of the story, never make a video on a school day because you wake up at 6:20 and then like 12 hours later you're already ready to go back to sleep. Maybe it's because spring break just ended, I don't know. But now we can move on to the next warp. Jeez, we're already 45 minutes in. 1.3's update, I believe, is next. Which, first off, I do know you were in it, Mr. Ocean Warp. And the Ocean Warp was a great warp, in my opinion. Although small and kind of just an arena, the boss here absolutely killed it. In a good way, that is. And I say killed it, I mean in a good way. If I meant, like, killed something, like, I just say, like, died off because of something. Or kind of killed the hype or something like that. Anyways, the Sea Lord was powerful because if you got near it, you'd take poison. He would spawn buddies that you needed to take care of. And the entire time, you're underwater. You don't have water breathing. If you do have you didn't fight the rot, you can't really bring water breathing into the fight. And if you did something stupid like bring Frostwalker boots, you would freeze up the air pockets, and you wouldn't be able to do stuff. But all in all, this boss was a hard one just due to the sheer stuff you had to worry about, and the amount of damage it could do to you within a short period of time if you didn't react. This is also kind of where I started discovering I could make items have impaling to make them stronger in rain, making water combat a lot more preferred over land combat, at least in terms of damage. Because then you could lure your opponent into water, throw a trident at them, and do like tons of damage to them. And yeah, that's kind of how things went. But that was the Ocean Warp. And really where the Dark Lords come into the lore is a lot more for Temple of Insanity, which we can actually not talk about yet. Because Temples of Insanity came out around the same time Time Skip did, and the Gas Queen. The Gas Queen, I'll just say that right, it was kind of like the original version, but it had TNT, it fired TNT that would explode as it trailed. Kinda did. It was a bit tough to do that because the TNT would blow up and fling the fireball into a different direction, basically creating like a random basically RNGing a fireball. And I thought that seems silly. Let's not do that. So I didn't. But yeah, this warp, anyways, the Ruined Kingdom, I believe its name was, is built by Magna. Other than this one bridge, me and Wolfie were pretty proud about this, but we managed to copy Magna's entire bridge design for this one specific bridge. And for some reason, every time I think about it, I think about Michelle Obama. And I don't know why, but Michelle Obama's like infiltrated my brain when it comes to this specific part. Never ask me why, just know it does. If you ever ask why, you'll probably be disappointed to find out that I don't even know. Anyways, continuing onwards, we have the, I never realized it was geode here. I knew there were geodes other places, but maybe I'm forgetting. Yeah, I'm forgetting that this geode existed. But the boss here was a Doombringer boss. Actually, one of the funner bosses in my opinion, because this boss would do some wacky stuff to you when you went after it. It'd do stuff like what's it called? It would remember. Oh yeah, if you got near it, if you got near the Doombringer, I believe, you'd get slower. And if you got near the Precursor, you'd get weaker. Basically, trying to promote ranged combat and also trying to make sure that you don't, trying to tell you, you gotta stay away from these guys because they're not gonna play fair and they're both next to you at the same time. Kiss your life goodbye. And this was overall just a fun warp to make. Well, the boss anyways, I didn't really help work on the warp too much. Other than that one bridge. I'll hold this memory to my life. This is like the best bridge ever. I'm just going to even label it as that. Just the bestest bridge ever. OMG. No ratio. Maidens. No heart. I cannot say that. I cannot. Alright. That was censored? Oh, never mind. Minecraft censorship's a bit dumb. Can't say Dick Monalds, but you can say... Do I want to say that? Probably not. Oh, PC. Calm down. Anyways, continuing onwards. I believe that's 1.3 because if anything else was in 1.3, I would probably know. Slime Shores is probably in 1.3, but Before we continue, though, we should probably take a look at this place, which is the Halloween Warp. And although it was left mostly unfinished, it still does exist. It was actually a craft idea planned. This was planned to be like right after 1.1. And this used to have, this is no longer this is a dropper instead of a dispenser, I think, or something like that. Or I think Red changed it that way at some point. But this place was supposed to have, like, these are recipes that you could do now on your own world. At least some of them anyways. I never got the costumes for all of them. Like, you would be able to make costumes for basically every special item. These are like some of the last instances of them. Like, you can get the butchered skeleton armor, which is... because you only got like one butchered skull. One dark skull from the butchered skeleton. So this would actually create a costume for you. That was pretty nice in terms of leather armor. And there was also the Hidden Among Us. The Hidden Among Us costume. One glass, an H shape of red concrete, and you get the Among Us pair. It was a powerful pair of armor. Let me tell you now. You don't stop an Among Us player. Among Us stops you. I think after a while we just took the... Oh no, we never took out the Underling costume. And the Queen costume. Those two still technically exist to this day. Maybe one day in the future I'll get bored enough to make these costumes full and release that version of Atrixious. But that'd be a while away, and we're nowhere near Halloween 2022. But yeah, this was a pretty great place to make. And that Party City, I'm pretty sure, is the last Party City around. I don't even know if Party City's is still in business. I just know they like come around every Halloween, and every like Halloween, and then they're just gone for the rest of the year, and then they show back up, and then they're gone, and then they show back up, and then they're gone. Anyways, it's time for the 1.4 warps. With the first one being Glitchville, because why not? Glitchville was, by all means, a disaster in terms of how it looks. But it was supposed to look like a disaster. It was supposed to look like when you came here, you were supposed to be like, what the hell happened? And that was the point of it. The boss here was actually meant to be a lot more chaotic, because when he stepped on copper, he would strike you with lightning, or he would go I hoped that the jump boost that he would get in the cobwebs would work, but it didn't, and it kind of just made him jump like a slight half millimeter of a block upwards more. So some of the effects didn't work properly. I can't really complain about that too much, though. It's just Minecraft being Minecraft. And also the lightning didn't work because Red turned all the copper ore into target blocks. So, but he would act differently on different blocks and stuff. Like, I don't know if you ever noticed that during the fight, but maybe I stopped it because the realm kept crashing and I just gave up. But yeah, and he was a main boss. Just remember that. He was actually the only main boss where you don't fight Doombringer with it. And he was quite the chaotic one at that. It was the Temple of Insanity. Oh. Anyways, the Temple of Insanity. This was where you got Ancientite, the crafter here, the third crafter. There were only 3 crafters on Atrixious. There were 4 on Galeris, one being the light one. Anyways, Temple's Keep was the lore boy in terms of stuff on the realm. A lot of people cheesed him. Talking about you there, Mom. I heard about your little expedition to the top of the roof so that you could exploit the boss. And then I patched it. And then I bullied them for being imbeciles and constantly breaking armor sets to the point where they needed to cheese Temple's Keep to get more quicker. Anyway, so this boss was a power. This is the kick-ass boss. This is the one boss that you fight knowing you're going into the challenge. Like, regardless of what version you play on, like even on Atronos, Temple's Keep is not going to be an easy feat. He's a boss that you don't want to fight just because you're bored. You want to fight this guy because you're ready for him, not because you're bored. I mean, you can fight him because you're bored, but at least be prepared if you fight him when you're bored. Don't be like fighting Mama or Redbeard, thinking that you're going to be able to get through this guy with ease, which I actually saw some new players doing. At least on Galeris, a lot of new players would summon Temple's Keep specifically, and I never understood why. I mean, yeah, the area's cool, but man, you could have at least summoned a boss that was more adept at being possible, not fucking this guy of all things, not this jack of all trades. Anyways, in this version, Temple's Keep is fast, he's strong, he's fast again, he's strong, he's fast, he's strong, he has resistance 3, I think it is. He has full netherite, so you don't even do knockback to him. He breaks basic shields, I think, in like 2 or 3 hits. I think he may even one-shot them normally as well. So you basically just need a king shield from the King Deadly in order to get anywhere with this guy if you're gonna hold shield while someone else kills him. Oh, did I forget to mention he's fast? This guy's so fast that I believe Swag actually recommended cornering yourself on purpose so that it'd be easier to hit him, because he's all over the place. Sometimes when you walk into the arena, he'll just see you for a split second, do a 360 around you, freaking teleport behind you, King Crimson shit, and just slap you right there, and you're dead. You're gone. You're bamboozled. Also, Temple's Keep was talking about in these logs about how this Doombringer person, because if it's not explained already, Doombringer is probably the smartest out of all the Dark Lords, with only being second to the Dark Emperor himself. And the Dark Emperor also kind of suspected that there's probably someone working with the imprisoned one. That is the reason why the realm seems to be strange, and that's why they're trying to. That's technically who they're trying to get, is Doombringer. The Light Clan doesn't really focus too much on this place. They don't really pick up the fact that the imprisoned one could easily just be here until after Atrixious and going on into Atronos. Now, this is hitting the 1 hour mark, and I will be right back. I'm back, and if I stand straight with my chair, it starts to go down. I don't like that. I need a new chair, guys. Please. I need a new chair. Well, if I stay up like this, oh my god. Face is in... Red is right. I do have a smiley face shaped zit pattern on my face, on my forehead. God. I gotta get that checked out. I spent the last, like, several minutes in the bathroom, and I thought of the story for Atrixious twin, so now we're ready. I'm joking about that, or am I? I already thought about it. The one I've had to think about is like 5. I already thought about how it ends, just not how it gets there. Anyways, oh boy, where were we? Well, we talked about Ocean Warp, and we're on a time skip now, I think. I think this is actually a final 1.4 part that we had to cover. Other than the Lost Isles, or whatever they're called. If I just... I'm gonna get it straightened back, that's for sure, guys. Let me just... Nah, too up close. These face cams are so... I need a green screen or something. Even then, I look so stupid at this angle, like... I can't really move it. It doesn't really turn to the side. I can't really move it this way, then it just... it's whatever. You know? You feel me? Alright. This was probably one of the shorter areas to make, and this was definitely, if any warp was to be the definition of a, well, guess I gotta make a warp for this boss, it would be this area, because this area was good, but it wasn't good enough to pass me in the terms of I did a good job, because personally I feel like I could have done more to this warp. I feel like I could have, you know, like, made some new stuff. I should not be doing this with a shirt that I've had since 7th grade. Seriously, a fun fact, I've never had a real wardrobe change since like 6th grade, so a lot of the stuff that I wear now still fits me. Anyways, with, it's really all the pants where the changes happen, you know? Like, getting more pants, because legs are getting longer, but upper body is staying around the same, you know, you feel me? Anyways, I'm being weird. So, this was probably the smallest area I ever had to work with, and I hated it. The time that I was working with it. Why did I do that to myself? And I think overall, just this area was rather minuscule in comparison to others. And I think it could have done better. However, this is over the boss too, and the boss was great. The fact that it could blind you from afar, and that I was able to make it so that it would spawn entities based on, like, the entities it spawns are very specific based on which entity is still around. Like, if all 3 of them are around, all 3 of them will spawn. If, like, the lunatic locksmith's gone, I think the crazy clock, not the crazies, the speedy clocksmiths, the vindicators, I think those guys are the ones that die when that happens. Like, they'll no longer be spawned. And so on and so forth. Also, this teleports the wrong way. Atrixious could use a few bug fixes one of these days. Well, it makes you go over stuff that was overlooked. And finally, Lost Isles. Lost Isles, very, very fun. Final lore area, and the final area released in the 1.4 update. This area was the final hint to what Doombringer was building, and also that he was starting to gain a following, which, although I cannot say, may or may not end up foreshadowing to certain events in the future. However, ooh, there's a mine shaft here. Damn. If anyone ever based near the Lost Isles, do tell, because, man, I'd love to raid your base when I do a Atrixious Let's Play, whenever I do. And I'd have to say definitely that this warp was fun to make overall. Well, Wolfie did most of it with the beach. I actually remember me and Czar arguing over beaches with this because I accidentally filled that boat into here. That's definitely not the exact same Redbeard ship, because I'm not good at building pirate ships. I probably should have just copied this over into Atronos. I'd rather have Bob build a new one, or anyone for that matter. I probably wouldn't even put Redbeard out on the ships until after, because I don't know, I just don't want to get into waiting for one final thing before I release. Anyways, the beach was mostly done by Wolfie, and this area is mostly done by me and Red. And the boss was fun. It was definitely one that you'd want to fight early on. It was definitely a mid-game tier boss, mid-early game. And I think it was a decent boss, but definitely was meant to be easy. Oh, I should also mention that lag clear was made by Red, and we created that as a way to fix the lag issue, where sometimes there'd be so many entities spawned by enemies that they would become a major issue. So we tried to patch it to our best ability, and we did, I hope. I think. It worked 99% of the time. Unless someone was like using blast mining, then it would start to lag a bit. Now the system runs off of when you're near the place. Why did I run straight to that? I do this thing where I make the Y coordinate up one taller than it needs to be. So I don't think it's for, yep, there it is. And I do that. I did that to mess with Red. Kinda. I kinda just did it because I was bored. But then I found out on Atronos that Red actually... Oh, hey, thank you. This isn't spawn. Where the hell am I? What is this place? What is this? Oh, is this... Oh, this was the sand traps. Red did a thing where we had sand traps where if you, I don't think we have access to them anymore unless Red gets on Atrixious or tells me the structure codes for them. But it was this kind of thing where you'd open up this, there'd be this chest, and when you open it up, it would be a trap that would push you into sand full of TNT. Now, if you are a really OP player, you could actually tank that. And I'm not even messing with you here. You could tank that. But a normal player could not tank that. And normal players died a lot. Oh, I also forgot to mention that for Temple's Keep and the bosses specifically, they have shields on their portals that prevent mobs from going through them, and only humans are able to. Well, players, because people were trying to go behind the portal or mess around with the portal in a way that would get Doombringer stuck in it. And Doombringer getting stuck in the portal meant a free win. Like, if you just went to the nether, he'd unload and the game would automatically say, hey, you win. But this boss was great. This was the final boss on Atrixious. It wasn't the last one I made. The last one that was made was the Boggs boss. And it was quite a lovely update, to be honest. 1.5. I just realized there wasn't a 1.7. It was only up to 1.6, but eh. And I'd have to say, out of everything we talk here, this is probably my favorite area. Even if it's this minuscule, to the point where you could really say it's garbage. It's great. It's so lore heavy that, and it doesn't need the area specifically to be good. It just had like that feeling of like a nice natural, like the area I was going for was just this normal natural plains biome with one thing breaking it down. And then you go show up there and Doombringer's there and you guys have a final battle before the thing detonates itself and goes kablooey. And does it explode? Does it not? Well, the answer for that's rather complicated, so let me explain it in detail, because I did this in the quiz. Technically speaking, the bomb exploded, but it also had a short fuse and then tried to reset itself while it was exploding. Due to this, however, it had already destroyed the realm into two sections, which then reset those two sections, which is why you don't really see the result of Atronos and Atrixious being just gray. Not everything's just death there, only small portions of it. And that's kind of where the story ends on this. There's a few other hidden secrets, like the compasses that take you to stuff. What those are about are for people to find out. However, I think most people could probably figure out who they're referring to and what's happening in them. However, I haven't seen anyone try to decipher them yet. I think people just intook them for now. And yeah, that's really it for Atrixious in terms of story. This is where it ends. Doombringer blows up the realm, and you guys are separated, and Atronos, obviously. So as far as anyone who's talked to Dowski knows, you're trying to get to Atrixious. And what better way than the Lord of Light's teleporter machines, you know? And overall, while developing Atrixious, it was a great project. It was, I use this with actual certainty, this was a golden age for the realms in general. This was a time where prosperity was really the big thing on the realms, and Atrixious was there for a lot of team-related things, and it was really the glue of the realm, I'd like to say, in many ways. Not the glue of the realm, but it was really the glue of, I guess, what kept my sanity throughout the times it was around. And I hope Atronos does the same. Now, one thing that has kind of lost me motivation was this little this little command right here. Because we theorized that number going to, it is 100 million. But you assume that when that number got too high, Rome would go boomy. However, after, we realized Galeras was at 130 million, while the others were only at 100 million. Maybe it may not, and if it is, we can fix it. And that's kind of why I lost a lot of motivation throughout the development in early days of Atronos. So if you ever saw me not on, that was probably why, because I lost motivation for like 2 weeks straight, because I couldn't just help but remember, oh yeah, basically the doomsday device that tells me when the realm's gonna die. Because the set, like, the first week I did it, it was already at 15 million. Now it's at like 23 million, but it was high, and it rose up there quick, and I was confused on how the hell it was already at 15 million. And that made me kind of lose motivation, if that's really how long it's been. And it really hasn't. Fuck subs, I swear to God, if you AFK on the realm that long again, I will smite you. Anyways, so I think that's all I can really say for this video. I hope you guys enjoy, and like and subscribe, and I hope you're ready for this episode to come out probably the same day I made it, at like 8:30 p.m. Anyway, see you guys later, and goodbye.